right. Hey, it's episode, I don't know, probably like 91.
89.
Okay. Of the franchise. I'm your host, Daniel Ehrenberg.
I'm your co-host, Henry Papali. Welcome, everybody, to the Death Wish series.
Yeah, listen, we decided to talk about Death Wish for the next 3 weeks, the classic Charles Bronson series, because there's a new Death Wish coming out. I saw the trailer yesterday in front of Black Panther.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything for it. Okay.
And there's Subway ads. It's being promoted.
Okay.
Yeah. It's Bruce Willis. He looks like he's being real charming.
Sure.
And Eli Roth directed it. Elizabeth Shue is in there.
Really?
I think so. I thought I
spotted
her. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. When was the last time you saw her at The Saint?
God, long 20 years.
Yeah.
Jeez.
She was on a TV show, I think. Whatever. Henry, then after we decided we were going to do this, and I had already watched the first Death Wish, there was another school shooting.
Yeah, I know.
Down in Florida. And it took all the energy out of watching these movies for me.
I had a real similar experience. Yeah, similar reaction. Yeah, we'll talk. Yeah,
I don't want to watch this guy trolling around New York with his gun out.
I know.
It's fucking weird, man.
I know, dude.
Listen, I just want to say, right off the bat, people who own guns are fucking weirdos.
I mean, look, don't get me started.
Is that a weird thing to say?
No, you've actually gone further than I thought you would, because you're a little more, you're more centrist than, I mean, I'm not centrist at all, but I've always thought that myself, and I will say, I'll admit right here, I've known and know many gun owners and hunters, as I'm sure you know, and I agree. It's a mentality that I've just never understood. It's
what are you doing?
Like the need to own a gun, and the conversation that I've always had that I always found was my ace in the hole, was that I've lived in some shitty fucking neighborhoods in my time, man. And I'm not even talking about New York. I'm talking about in Pittsburgh. I lived in some bad places, and I was robbed 3 times. I mean, I never once, ever felt the need to buy a gun. Yet people who live in the suburbs, they have to own a gun. I just don't get it. I don't get it.
And people will tell you it's because they like to hunt or go to the gun range and shoot, blow off steam.
Find another hobby, man. There's lots
That's
of stuff.
What I'm saying, man. Maybe don't kill stuff.
Go to the batting
cage.
cage.
It's not that important.
It's not important.
I'd even be okay with gun ranges, but like, go to the gun range, rent a gun, have it be like putters at a mini golf place.
Totally agree. There's
what
no
is going
need for
on?
It. There's no need at all.
The only people who should ever own any guns whatsoever are fucking law enforcement and the military.
I agree. I agree. I saw. Did you hear about this? Not to get off on a rant here, but no. Did you see the tweet from one of the high school kids in the Florida thing?
Yeah.
The girl who said to Trump, she tweeted him.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
It was phenomenal.
Those kids are dynamite.
Yeah, and it's just like, so really, essentially, and to me, it just comes down to what's more important. Your antiquated view of a misinterpretation of the Second Amendment.
What are you talking about? So someday people might have to start a militia to take over the government.
I forgot, a well-regulated militia. Yes, that's right. Or just people staying alive. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Outlaw guns. I'm not in favor of gun control, Henry. I'm in favor of just guns not existing. They should be illegal.
Well, I agree. And, everyone has a counter-argument for it, but at the end of the day...
I won't hear it.
I agree. And actually, at the end of the day, you can argue and counter-argue all you want about gun control laws, no gun control laws. I'm with you in that it's kind of a comical position, but it's true. People, examine yourselves look deep within yourself. Why do you need this?
I'm totally.
You're a fucking weirdo. You're a
totally
fucking weirdo.
Cool having political arguments, and I'm interested in hearing other people's views. Not on this one. What's the big deal? Just don't have guns.
No need. If I walked into someone's house and they had 37 samurai swords, I'd kind of think they were a weirdo too.
Oh, I said this on Twitter, man. Listen, no weapons. I don't like these assholes that go to comic book conventions and walk away with swords. That's the most I've ever been scared, Henry.
Right, I'm sure.
Yeah, I've lived in terrible neighborhoods too, and
right,
I've been mugged. And
yeah.
And like the most scared I've ever been is walking out of comic book conventions where everyone around me has a sword.
Yeah. Did you ever feel the primitive need to buy one?
No, it would be the dumbest way to die, Henry. Some nerd chopping me up.
Yeah.
And I feel the same way. If you have a gun, you're just some kind of fucking nerd. Get away from me.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. I hear you, man. 100%.
Oh, Death Wish. All right.
Had to be said, man. It had sometimes.
I didn't have to, but I'm fucking sick of it already.
I am too, and I'm sick of this too. Thoughts and prayers. Go fuck yourself.
No, thoughts and prayers are great, but that can't be
they're
the only thing.
I disagree. I'm sick of it.
I'm more religiously tolerant than you are these days.
Yeah,
but
I'm not, and it doesn't do anything.
There was a guy in my AA meeting this morning whose wife died in the Las Vegas shooting.
Is that right?
Yeah, and after that, his son was bummed out about it, OD'd and died.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, great.
Thoughts and prayers.
Thoughts and prayers. Okay. Thoughts and prayers, by the way, to Charles Bronson. A great man. He's the reason we're here. There'd be no Death Wish without Charles Bronson, although I guess now we're doing Death Wish without Charles Bronson.
No, but there would never have been. You're right. Yeah. Charles Bronson, an actor that, while going through his filmography, I realized I've never seen him in anything else.
Me neither.
Really?
Yeah.
He's been in like 1,000 movies. I've never seen
Is he on your superhero count?
Nope.
I remember he was rumored for a minute when they were going to do Dark Knight Returns.
Ooh, that would have been interesting.
Yeah. With his mustache.
Well, he has one in the beginning.
That's true, yeah. So, listen, Death Wish was a novel by a fellow named Brian Garfield. This writer did not like Mondays, but did love lasagna. After my gun control rant, I feel like making the silliest jokes possible.
Brian Garfield. Yeah.
Brian Garfield. Listen,
nephew of Peter Benchley.
That can't be true.
It isn't.
Okay. He wrote, that's funny though, he wrote this Death Wish novel, and it's apparently very anti-vigilante. So the studios got a hold of it, Dino De Laurentiis, and he decided, well, like, let's make this, but make it vigilantism is awesome.
Of course,
so
even though
awesome.
Charles Bronson later said the movie is anti-vigilante.
It is a little the first one. By the second one, we're just guns are great. Let's kill some motherfuckers.
Yeah, we'll get into it, whether it is or it isn't. It's interesting, and obviously, I think we'll have to touch upon Dirty Harry because that was hard for me to not think about.
In many ways, I consider our coverage of Death Wish to be a spiritual sequel to our coverage of Dirty Harry.
Yeah, I agree.
We're franchising the franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. There's even a franchise crossover actor. So.
From Dirty Harry?
Yep. We'll get there.
Okay. All right. So 2 years after the publication of that novel, they make it into a film. It's directed by a fellow named Michael Winner, who more like Michael Loser after looking at his filmography. Am I right?
I was gonna make that joke, but I decided against it.
Well, because it was too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm glad you did it. Yeah.
Thanks. So he makes this movie. His career falls to shit. Has he directed anything else of note?
For some reason, I feel like I've heard of The Mechanic, which preceded this.
Yeah, because it was remade into a Jason Statham movie.
Is that why?
Yeah.
Busted. Okay. Then I haven't.
Okay, so I mean, his career dies after he makes Death Wish, and then Bronson is loyal enough to bring him back for Death Wish 2.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think 3.
I don't know yet.
We'll get there next week. You don't know it yet because we haven't watched it yet.
No, I had no desire to continue looking after,
Yeah.
one at a time.
It's written by a fellow named Wendell Mays.
What do you know about this guy?
Well, he had a weird career because, I mean, he wrote one of the best screenplays I've ever seen.
Oh, wait, all right, I'm looking at him right now. So, one of the best screenplays you've ever seen, that wouldn't be The Poseidon Adventure, would it? Even though I love that
although
movie.
that's a fun movie.
I love that movie.
No.
What?
Anatomy of a Murder. The great
I never saw
Anatomy
that.
of a Murder by Otto Preminger. Just a perfect screenplay on that baby, and it's written by this guy Wendell Mays.
Oh, all right.
I don't think he did much else that I care about, but you gotta give him that one, huh?
I never saw it. Yeah, so there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. No involvement in the rest of the franchise.
He's done.
He booked out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Herbie Hancock on music.
Herbie Hancock on music, sure.
And I just want to give a shout out to Dirty Harry composer Lalo Schifrin. When I saw Herbie Hancock come up here, I was kind of excited. That was not merited. It's a bad score.
Listen, it's not that bad a score. It's a mediocre score.
It's very mediocre.
Listen, I felt like it might be a bad score until I saw Death Wish 2.
Jimmy Page.
Let's talk about it later. But
Yeah.
no, Herbie Hancock, I think, is a talented guy. He's got the support of Quincy Jones, one of the few.
Yeah.
Did you read that Quincy Jones interview?
No.
Look it up. One of the craziest interviews you'll ever read in your life.
Which one?
There, you look up Quincy Jones interview. One will come up.
Okay.
Yeah. But he doesn't mind Herbie Hancock.
Oh, all right. I'm excited now.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Death Wish was released on July 24th, 1974, on a budget of $3 million. And it has a box office here of $22 million.
This is released, not insignificantly, about 3 weeks before Nixon resigned.
Really?
And I say that because this is a movie for the silent majority.
What, Nixon fans are supposed to like this movie?
Fucking A. Absolutely. Yep. I'm an amateur student of that whole period, as you know, and I did not think that was a coincidence that this movie was made at that time. So,
sure,
this was the movie made for angry white people.
Yeah,
it was at the time for sure.
Definitely. I mean, it's
even though, thank God, a lot of the crooks aren't just black. That was kind of refreshing.
Although there is one sequence where he's like first looking out for muggers, and he just like sees a black guy on the street and like eyes him up.
Oh yeah, of course.
Like that guy must be a criminal.
Yeah, in that really dangerous neighborhood he lives in on Riverside Drive.
Yeah. I mean, that is what the movie became. But do you know who was originally attached to make this?
Who's originally attached to make it?
Yeah.
Oh, was it Sidney Lumet?
Sidney Lumet was attached to direct a version of this, starring Jack Lemmon and Henry Fonda.
Yeah, which oddly, I could actually see them.
I'd love it.
I could see them being interested. I could see Jack Lemmon doing this. I mean, it would be totally different, but
no, absolutely, and ultimately,
little more believable. Maybe
the movie Sidney Lumet made instead of Death Wish was Serpico, which is just a more thematically complex version of what this movie's doing, basically.
Right.
It's almost like this movie, except Charles Bronson's the villain.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah.
Box office hit comes in at number 16 for the year.
Wow.
Right behind The Man with the Golden Gun. And
of course.
Right ahead of Thunderbolt and Lightfoot.
Oh, never saw that.
I have here the top 10 movies of 1974, just because I don't think we've done it before.
If we did, it would have been a long time ago. I know we've done 74 when we did Chinatown, but who knows? So it's a long time ago.
All right, I'm going to give you a quick hint. We've got 2 franchise movies on here.
I already know one of them.
At least 2 disaster movies.
Okay.
And number 1 is a comedy. Do you have any guesses?
Yes, I do.
And there's 2 films on this list by the same filmmaker.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give this a few shots. I think I'm going to get a few of them. This was the year of Towering Inferno.
Towering Inferno. That's number 2.
All right.
I believe it was number 1 worldwide, but it's number 2 domestically.
Okay. Airport, 1975.
That's right.
I knew it.
Yeah, that's number 7. How'd you get that one?
I just knew it came out around that time, so I figured.
Oh, yeah. You mean Airport 1975 came out around 1974?
Yeah. Now you said 2 franchise movies. Does that mean franchises or franchises we've covered, or both? Possibly?
Neither of which we've covered.
Godfather 2.
That's right. That's number 6.
Well, Man with a Golden Gun. You said
Airport 1975, dude.
Okay, so that was 3 I got.
Yeah.
Okay, Chinatown didn't get on there.
Oh, there's another franchise movie, but it's the first one in the franchise.
Okay, I'm. That's all I got.
All right, number 10. It's a franchise about a dog.
1974. I don't fucking know.
It's Benji.
Oh, all right. Wow.
Number 9. You know that my favorite movie with a girl with white lady dreads is The Fate of the Furious. You know that.
Right.
But this movie was remade into my second favorite movie with a lady with white girl dreads.
Remade?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's Gone in 60 Seconds.
Uh-oh. Wow.
Remember Angelina Jolie's dreads?
Vaguely. Yeah, I did see that movie. Oh, I have another guess.
Okay.
Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3?
Not on here.
All right.
Number 8. It's the life and times of a fella with a beard.
Duddy Kravitz.
Grizzly Adams. All right, 7 is Airport 75. 6 is Godfather 2. 5, a disaster film, one-word title. There, you loved Volcano. You loved. I don't know. This is in that vein.
Boy, I thought with
you
Airport,
loved Twister. You loved whatever.
China Syndrome.
One-word title.
I don't know.
Earthquake.
Wow, I've never seen that.
It's pretty bad, I saw it.
Okay.
You know I'm a disaster head.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Number 4. It's a parody by a Jew.
Young Frankenstein.
That's right.
All right.
Number 3. Oh, this is part of a franchise, too, actually. I've never seen any of them, though.
I don't know.
Trial of Billy Jack.
No fun. I've heard of it, but I didn't know it was a trilogy. Right.
I didn't say trilogy, but it's a franchise. Number 2 is The Towering Inferno, and number 1.
Blazing Saddles.
That's correct.
He did 2 in 1 year. Wow.
Yeah.
Never liked Blazing Saddles.
It's funny at times.
Yeah.
Parts of it hold up, parts of it don't. You have your top 10 for 1974?
Got my top 7.
That's it?
Yeah, this is the weird year in my 1970s run. I've got 10 movies for every year that we've ever done except 1974. And I re-looked again last night, and I was only able to add 1. I've either not liked a remaining 3 or not seen 3 all the way through.
Listen, even if you didn't like them, you have to fill out the list. You got to do it like Shandy.
Oh, well, it's also a la Murder on the Orient Express, which I never saw all the way through, or other stuff like that. Okay, fine, I'll fill out the fucking list. Number 10. Fine, number 10, Towering Inferno. Number 9.
Wait, well, I've got to do mine.
All right. Number 10, Towering Inferno.
All right, my number 10 is Thieves Like Us.
Never saw it. Number 9. Pitch me one. Throw me one.
Number 9?
Yeah, throw me a number 9.
I don't have the list up of Benji.
Oh no, I got one for you. I'll throw a number 9 movie I hate, but let's put it on there because all of my friends, I think, including you, forced me to watch it. A Woman Under the Influence.
That's on my list higher.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah, my number 9 is Dark Star.
Oh, I still haven't seen that. Need a number 8. Throw me a number 8. Throw me an 8. Throw me an 8. Need an 8.
How about
Let me kite one of yours.
Okay. Well, my number 8, which I'm sure you haven't seen, is F for Fake by Orson Welles.
Oh, you know what? Let's put it on because I always wanted to see that.
Okay, great. Love it.
I always wanted to see that. Yep. All right. Number 7, The Man with the Golden Gun.
My number 7 is The Sugarland Express.
Never saw it. Yeah. Number 6, Young Frankenstein.
That's not on my list. It's a good movie.
It is. It's one of the only Mel Brooks movies I like.
Oh, that's because you're anti-Semitic.
Right. I love Mel Brooks as like a person, and I love him. I think he's awesome.
I have that same thing.
Yeah.
I like Blazing Saddles. Okay. The ones I like unequivocally are Young Frankenstein and High Anxiety.
Never saw High Anxiety.
But yeah, I mean, look, Spaceballs is terrible. And these people from my generation that'll have you believe Robin Hood Men in Tights is good, get out of here.
It's fucking garbage. And as a kid, I loved Spaceballs. As I think we mentioned on Star Wars episode coverage, it sucks. Yeah, doesn't hold up.
Yeah. Where are we, 6?
I just did my 6, yep.
And what was it?
Young Frankenstein.
Right, okay. My number 6 is Day for Night by Truffaut, right?
Look at you.
Yeah.
The auteur in you always comes out in these years. But I've got one for you.
Okay.
My number 5 is very auteurish, and I guarantee you've never seen it, and I very much recommend it to you. But it's a biography by Ken Russell, the crazy fucking Ken Russell, British director. His biography of Gustav Mahler called Mahler.
No, I don't know that.
It is excellent. It's one of the few bios of a composer that is good.
Okay.
Yeah, Mahler.
What about Amadeus?
Right.
I know you like that movie.
Like I said, one of the.
What about Immortal Beloved? You like that?
I like aspects of it.
All right.
Yeah.
What else is there?
Gary Oldman's great. Impromptu about Chopin.
Right. Yeah, your dad loves that movie.
Yeah, he does. I don't know. That's not that. Oh, there's one about Tchaikovsky called The Music Lovers. That's pretty bad. That's also by Ken Russell. Man. There's Listomania. That's also by Ken Russell, but none of them are good. Mahler is great.
Okay. My number 5 is The Conversation.
Okay. My number 4 is Death Wish.
Really?
Well, this was done many years ago.
Okay. Interesting.
Remember? These are from 2010, 2011. Remember that.
My number 4 is A Woman Under the Influence.
Of course it is. My number 3 is The Conversation.
My number 3 is Chinatown.
My number 2 is Chinatown.
My number 2 is Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore.
Never saw it all the way through.
Mm.
And the number 1 movie of
Godfather 2. Godfather 2.
Yeah.
Obviously. People complain when I do that sometimes, so I'll say it very clearly. The Godfather Part 2.
Oh, when you mumble? Or?
Well, sometimes, like, when it's an assumed number 1, I just, like...
There will be blood. There will be blood.
Let's
go.
Yeah.
Goodfellas.
Yeah. Okay, so, this movie starts in Hawaii for some reason. Oh, hey, so they're on a vacay. Bronson and his lady. I think Bronson's supposed to be like 38 in this movie, even though he's clearly like 74.
Yeah, he's 53 in real life there.
Yeah.
He doesn't look that bad for 53. I mean, it's interesting. Yeah, I mean, 53. He's like 60 something in the sequel, but
Yeah. He looks way worse in the sequel. I'll tell you that. He aged a lot in those 8 years.
Sure.
Yeah. Bronson, they're on the beach. She's in a bikini. He's flirting up a storm. He wants to give her a mustache ride right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we get back to New York. He's working as an architect. Paul Kersey is the character's name.
Okay, I have 4 different pronunciations. Can I read them to you?
I heard a Kersey at one point.
I wrote them down.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Paul Kersey, Paul Kersey, Paul Kersey, and Paul Kersey.
You know, there are scenes in this movie with multiple characters talking to him, like maybe a couple of policemen, and they're in the same scene, consistently pronouncing his name differently. Michael Winner couldn't have said stop and cut. And the pronunciation is this.
Yeah. Cut.
This is a thing. It's fundamental filmmaking. There's no script supervisor on this fucking movie.
I highly doubt that.
There's a character in Buffy named Tara, and Joss Whedon insisted everyone pronounce it that way. So, like, no one says Tara even. It's Tara.
Right.
And that makes sense.
Right.
Ugh.
Well, you know, right from the beginning, just to tie in with the plot, there's very poor dialogue, pacing, and direction.
All four, the big 4, huh? Wait, sorry, 3.
Well, there's 4. I've noticed that Arthur J. Ornitz, the director of photography, anytime he shoots something at night, I thought it looked very good. But anytime this guy, and it's a lot of this movie takes place in the daytime, like in an office or an apartment.
Yeah.
It looks awful.
Anytime we're indoors in this fucking movie, he's busting out a fisheye lens for no reason.
Oh my God.
Put that away.
It is bad. It's very bad. That was the main thing about the movie, I have to say, above the context, the subtext of all the, you know, philosophical things.
Him with this fisheye lens. It's like some guitarist that, like, leaned too hard on the wah-wah pedal. I'm like, stop it.
He's like Tom Hooper in The King's Speech. It's like, you know, remember, like, Tom Hooper? Like, I tried to rewatch the John Adams thing on HBO a while back.
Yeah.
It's almost unwatchable because
John Adams? I remember that being good.
Yeah, I did too, and then I rewatched it, and it would be great if I didn't have to look at and count Paul Giamatti's nose hair. It's like every fucking shot is like, it's very much like Tom Hooper. That's his Les Mis. You know, that's his thing.
Yeah, who are you, Hype Williams? Stop it.
Yeah, and it's like that here, and he's just he's not a very good director. Like, some scenes that might have been pulled off are just very amateurishly shot.
Look, the one thing I'll say for this movie is it's shot on location in New York in 1974, and that makes up for a lot of our criticisms.
It does.
Honestly, it feels it feels good. It feels
really
good to be there.
It does.
But yeah, no, this Michael Winner sucks.
Really does. Yeah. It reminded me of spoiler alert, but much better movie about a similar topic. I don't think you really like this movie, but a New York vigilante movie made by Neil Jordan.
The Brave one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a much better looking movie, a much better written movie, better acted, everything. But kind of just threw that in there almost just as a rec for people.
I don't particularly like that movie. I'll take Death Wish over the Brave one.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, because the Death Wish, look, what it does right is it's a vigilante movie, and Charles Bronson's fucking badass, and once we get past the Tucson sequence, I'm like,
it picks up.
It's pretty fun. The locations are great. The Brave one, to me, like, it's got Jodie Foster, and she's, you know, I'll take Jodie Foster over Charles Bronson any day of the week. But,
right.
But, like, you know, it's not that good a movie.
Oh, I like it a lot. But
I know you do. Yeah. And I have nothing against Neil Jordan. He's made stuff I like, right?
Oh, yeah.
What's he made? In the Name
Oh,
of the
dude.
Father? That's Jim Sheridan. What's
Right.
Neil Jordan made?
Wrong Irishman. The Crying Game, Byzantium, a lot of good stuff. I can't think of it. His filmography's pretty impressive. To be honest.
Brave One would have been more interesting if she turned out to have a dick at the end.
Yeah, I'll grant you that.
All right, so pretty early on, they're talking in his architect firm, and it really is a movie for like old people. It's like the same way like they make movies for old people now that have all the right like baby boomer references. You know, Just Getting Started.
Right.
Or, yeah.
Last Vegas.
Yeah, or what was the other one this past year? Oh, I can't remember. Fuck. There's Morgan Freeman's in all of them.
Yeah, he's in all of them. Every one. Yeah.
But which one's Just Getting Started? I'm thinking of the one.
I don't know.
What's the one directed by Zach Braff with Alan Arkin? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I think so, but I'm of no help. I can't. There's so many of them. I don't know.
I'm looking up Braff right now.
Okay.
The great filmmaker Zach Braff.
The great Zach Braff.
Going in style.
Oh man.
Yeah. Okay. But it's like that, but it's weird because like they're old in 1974.
Right.
And so there's like references in like the first 5 minutes of this movie, like remember the concentration camps? Those were the days. Like,
yeah, it is
fucking
weird.
insane.
You're right. That is bizarre. Yeah.
Like, I think they say they should put criminals in concentration camps, and I'm like, let's not bring up concentration camps 5 minutes into our fun vigilante movie.
Well, I'm telling you, this movie was made for people who at the time would be like, fuck yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And who today, if this movie came out, they would never have that line in there. But if they did, there's people secretly going, and you know who you are. I'd be like, yeah, no, that's right. I'm glad they said it.
Yeah, MAGA. Okay. Being
So he goes
political this week. Okay.
Whatever.
Go
he
ahead.
goes to Tucson. And
I'm not there yet. Are you crazy?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We're in the supermarket.
Yeah.
You
Let's
got
do that.
Bronson's wife and his daughter, and they're shopping.
Yeah.
And a fella gets a hold of their receipt or something. Oh, so they're going to deliver the bags to their apartment.
Yeah, they can't carry them.
And there are these fucking mischief makers in the supermarket. These movies are full of just youths that are like making trouble. And
30-year-old youths.
yeah. So, I mean, it should be said, one of them is Jeff Goldblum in a Jughead hat from Archie. And,
yeah.
And he's having a real nice time. It's fun to see him.
Yeah. He's always Goldbluming it in the 70s, He's like showing up in Annie Hall, and I always do the same thing when I used to watch that all the time. I'd say, oh, that's Jeff Goldblum's first film appearance. No, it's not.
Yeah. He's in
this
Death
is,
Wish.
though, right?
I can't say for sure, but it must be.
I think it is.
And he's being Jeff Goldblum. Like, it's not like he's putting on a character. Like, he's Goldbluming it in this.
Absolutely.
He is about to rape the daughter at one point, and he says, "Hey, I'm gonna do a thing." Like, ad-lib that? I have no idea.
Probably.
But okay,
this was his first movie, by the way.
Great.
First movie.
That's an ugly scene. They break into the house.
I agree.
I understand
I agree.
we need motivation for Bronson's anger, but it's a pretty brutal scene.
It's a brutal scene, and it's more, I think, the poor direction also, which makes it like very unartful, if that can even be said. Like,
no, you're totally right. It looks like a fucking snuff movie.
Right, like the two movies that sprung to mind where a similar sequence happens, where it's actually artistic, if that can be used, would be A Clockwork Orange and like Straw Dogs. both
Yeah,
in the 70s.
but
You know what I mean?
it's nowhere near. You can't compare Michael Winner to fucking Sam Peckinpah.
Of course not, but you know what I'm saying. The sequences are pulled off.
Yeah,
this is they're equally ugly. But,
this is gross. They pull down the girl's pants, they spray paint on her ass, and then they and then they gang rape her, and then we see her like stumble over to the phone to call 911 after they rape her. And it's
and the way Goldblum kills the mother. I mean,
I wanted to shut it off. It was like on impulse almost. Henry, you ever watch porn, and you stumble onto something a little too fucked up for you?
Yeah, all the time.
And you got shit. You shut it off. Sometimes you don't even keep going. You're like, I can't watch porn right now.
Yeah, watch Chris Rock's latest stand-up. He has a funny thing on that.
Okay. But yeah, that's how I felt watching this. I was like, we're doing this for the podcast? Let me shut this off.
Yeah, I had the same reaction, man. I was like, I mean, I had seen this, but I guess it had been way longer that I had seen this. Like, I guess it was more like 20-something years, and I did not remember that scene being so fucking ugly. Ugly's the right word. You know, we've watched a lot of brutal films. This is ugly. Yeah,
it's gross, man. And
it's like this scene. It's like this scene in Sudden Impact, the rape scene in that.
It's worse. I think it's worse.
It is worse. I agree, but that was also one of those scenes that made me want to turn it off.
I think the rape scenes in both of these movies we're covering today, Death Wish and Death Wish 2, are worse than anything in Dirty Harry.
I agree.
I did not care for it.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's not like I'm fucking faint of heart or something. Like I watch Antichrist with the best of them, but like
no, you're a decent human being, so you have a visceral, guttural reaction.
Death Wish is not an art film. It's meant as entertainment, and holy fuck was that not entertaining.
I agree with that. Yeah.
All right, so they go to the funeral. Where we get to meet my favorite character in the film, Charles Bronson's son-in-law.
Oh my God,
Henry!
Can I read my note? Yeah,
I wanna act out this scene.
Okay.
I'll be the son-in-law. You be Charles Bronson.
Okay. Do I speak first or do you speak?
Go
first?
ahead. You can speak first.
Okay. I think I need to go back to work, and we got to take care of Carol.
Are you sure, Dad? You should take some time off, Dad. Stay with us for a little while, Dad.
Well, Jack, I think I really be okay on my own, but you just make sure you take care of Carol, and I want to be around her as much as I can, okay?
But Dad, we care about you, Daddy. Dad.
Jack, what are you doing to protect Carol?
Dad, I'm doing everything I can, but it's also important to protect you, Dad. Daddy.
I think that's insane.
Okay, yeah. My point is, if you're someone's son-in-law, don't call them fucking Dad every other word. It's weird.
Every other word. You know that it's too much when me as a viewer have the thought running through my mind, boy, you know, if I ever get married, I'm never going to call my father-in-law Dad. Not going to do it.
Even if
it got me.
I feel like I understand, and it's probably old-fashioned, but it's like, first of all,
no, you can.
But it's the same way I don't say your name, Henry, every time I say a fucking sentence. This guy is ending every sentence with the word Dad.
Yes. Yeah. And so it ties into my note, which I then regretted, but don't really regret because it's a great note. The note initially starts, son-in-law is a whiny bitch. Okay?
Sure.
Then I looked up the actor. Stephen Keats. Died at the age of 48. You know how?
AIDS.
No.
What?
Killed himself.
Oh no.
Yeah, committed suicide. Yeah, he killed himself. His son found him. Son found dad.
How old was he?
48.
What year?
Oh, I don't know. Not longer after this, maybe in the early 80s, I think.
Did he not make it to see Death Wish 2?
I don't think so. I'm looking up right now. Yeah. He died in he died in 1994 at the age of 49.
Oh man, it was like Kurt Cobain dying was too much for him.
Same year as Kurt Cobain.
Yeah.
Son found him.
God, that's horrible. Son found him.
Yeah.
I bet his son was like, Dad, are you okay? Dad.
I know.
Daddy.
I had the same thought. Terrible.
Henry.
Yep. Yeah.
It's horrible.
Hey.
Listen, I unironically said he's my favorite character in this movie.
I know.
He's my MVP.
I'm just giving the facts.
Okay. Hollywood Facts by Henry Papali.
I can't be the only one when I do my superhero counts to know this awful knowledge sometimes. I have to share it and cathartically dispel the terror that I see on the page. So, you know. Stephen Keats.
I'll read my horrible note that I found. Just give me give me a second. I need to find it.
Well, you find
there was a lot of
tragedy.
A lot of tragedy on the set of this film.
Well,
okay,
I'll read
what's
my funny note while you look that up. My funny note is that Charles Bronson and Jack Klugman were roommates in Manhattan for a while.
Okay.
And is that an odd couple or what?
Oh God. Pretty good.
That's an original joke.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Here's why I'm having problems. My thing is from Death Wish 2, so we'll get to it later.
Okay.
All right.
Well, it was I think I know what you're going to say, but that's okay, yeah.
About his brother?
No.
Okay,
no.
I'll read it now.
About his wife.
According to Michael Winner's biography, Henry, Charles Bronson's alcoholic brother often visited the set to borrow money. Bronson was careful not to give him too much in case someone might kill him for it.
Oh my God!
Yeah, Charles Bronson's brother was later found dead in a cheap hotel room, having been stabbed in the buttocks. Yep, little butt stabbing.
How could you have possibly topped me on mine? How is that even possible? How did you find that?
IMDb trivia, my friend.
No, but I mean, just on Death Wish 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so you didn't, look up, okay. Wow. My God, he stabbed him in the ass and he bled out?
I don't know.
Jesus, he must have taken some aspirin or something. What is he? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That is just
Listen, you
tragic.
can't survive that if you're not prepared with anal beads like Anastasia Steele.
Oh,
All right.
My Lord.
So,
what movie are we covering?
We're covering Death Wish. So, Bronson.
He goes to Tucson.
Not yet. He
oh my God.
He gets some cash broken down into quarters.
Right.
And
that was interesting because I didn't know where that was going when he says, "Can you give me 2 rolls of quarters?" I was like, "Huh?" Yeah.
He's just trolling around his house with a sock full of quarters and a carafe of whiskey. And and I was like, "Hello, me of 2 years ago."
the sock full of quarters
Yeah.
and the Remy Martin. It's great. And he's like, isn't he? Am I making this up, or did he not do a couple of like test runs in his apartment with the sock?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and
whoosh,
then it
whoosh,
breaks.
Whoosh. Oh, he does. He breaks it.
The
I don't
sock
remember that.
breaks. Yeah.
Oh, all right, okay.
That's when
All
he
right.
thinks
That's
like, I need
cool.
something better than a sock, like perhaps a
Right,
gun.
But he uses the sock in the first mugging.
Yeah, he whacks a guy with it.
Yeah, it works. That'll get you every time. That sock full of quarters.
Okay, so then he has to
Like
have
like
what?
no, I just said like a fucking 1930s cartoon or something. He went out there with a sock full of quarters. Kapow!
Yeah.
Forget it.
Well, it's fulfilling the dreams of all the people watching this movie that grew up watching Steamboat Willie and fucking
Yeah.
it seriously is like fucking Michael Winner should have directed like that Popeye movie instead of Robert Altman.
Olive oil!
Okay, Dave Coulier. So Bronson gets an architecturing job over at the Delos Corporation. So he visits Westworld.
Totally thought of that too.
Yeah, he's just in this like small western town with like actors playing cowboys and shit. What the hell am I watching?
You're not going to tell me that wasn't lifted totally from Westworld, because that just had come out a year prior. And I even read they were going to show that he was actually just watching Westerns or something in a bar. And Michael Winner said, nope, I want him to watch a live action Western.
It is super weird. They really could have done it. Like, he got the idea to be a vigilante. Like, it could have been like in Back to the Future Part 2 when Michael J. Fox spots that he's watching Fistful of Dollars, right?
Yeah.
And
Part 3.
For a few dollars more.
No, I meant Part 3 when that's the Western.
No. But he first sees the movie in the future in Part 2 and then uses the idea in 3.
Didn't remember that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, in this movie, they're like, TV, that's not good enough. We gotta get him to Tucson.
Ugh.
And so there's this whole annoying section of the movie where he goes to Tucson. He befriends this fella, who at first
Ames Jane Chill.
Is that his name? Ames Jane Chill? Is it
Yeah,
the character or the actor?
The character is named Ames Jane Chill.
Love it.
Yeah.
Sounds like a character from Black Panther.
Yeah, he's played by Stuart Margolin.
Okay, so this guy is skeptical of Kersey at first because he's a New Yorker.
He was also I'm sorry, this is important to point out. This actor was in Future World.
Oh, okay. He's the crossover?
Yeah, no, he's not. I just found that out. Yeah.
Who was he? Was he the guy that was like the married guy that was trying to bone everybody?
I don't know.
In Spa World?
Oh, yeah. All right. Go ahead.
Check out our Future World coverage to hear me losing my mind. I had the sense that this section of the movie was a real love story where this Tucson fella, Ames Jane Chill, was falling in love with Paul Kersey.
I think so too. Yeah.
And he took him to a gun club. They bonded.
What war were you in? World War II? Korea?
Yeah. He was in Korea.
I was a CO, medical officer, to which Ames Jane Chill quite understandably responds, "Oh, you were a CO?" You know, which is in certain circles, I believe, a correctional officer or some sort. And he's like, "No,
commanding officer."
Right. Yeah, I was a conscientious objector. Oh, I see. You're one of them liberal fellows with the bleeding hearts, huh? Yeah. Okay.
And he has a whole monologue there, like, my heart bleeds for some, but I also understand the perils of war. Check out my mustache.
Which he does, because Charles Bronson Fascinating guy, I gotta say. Flew 25 bombing missions in World War II in Japan. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Bronson.
Was a real life war veteran in
Yeah.
a real life war, the last necessary war.
I love Charles Bronson.
So he's
I love him as a guy, just as a celebrity figure.
he's pretty fucking interesting. You know that he didn't learn English till he was 13.
What are you talking about? He's from like Pennsylvania.
That's right, but he didn't know English because his family were immigrants and that's all they spoke.
That's
was
insane.
Like Lithuanian and like Polish. So
that makes so much sense. I looked
Right.
up where he's from because his accent is so weird.
well, that's why. Yeah. And his name was, Charles Buczynski, and his agent told him to change it because during the House Un-American activities in the 50s, he said, you'll never get work because your name is too Eastern European sounding. So he changed it to Bronson so he wouldn't be blacklisted.
Interesting.
I thought so.
Yeah. That is
right.
interesting. Nathaniel, former guest Nathaniel Safran.
Yeah.
I remember in high school he had a picture of Charles Bronson like ironed onto this notebook he used to carry around. We loved him.
Yeah. So this guy's telling him about his guns and introduces him to different hunting guns. Bronson's automatically an amazing shot.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous.
He was a medic, but he can shoot a gun.
Perfectly.
Okay.
He gets the bullseye every time. He is a crack shot in this fucking movie. It's weird
Crack
because
shot.
by Death Wish 2, he's kind of missing sometimes.
Yeah.
He always hits a target. Like, he never has to shoot a dude more than once in this entire
Nope.
movie.
Nope. Well, he's like Dirty Harry in that respect. Never misses.
I guess, but like Dirty Harry had trouble tracking down Scorpio. Although, one weird thing about this movie is you'd expect him to like eventually track down the dudes that like murdered his wife and raped his daughter.
That. I liked that.
Yeah, I kind of did too. He never does. Like I kept
gets
waiting for Goldblum to show up again.
No,
and he
I
never
had
does.
a feeling they wouldn't. I didn't remember, but I had a feeling that they wouldn't. Yeah, which I liked.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good. Joe Chill. It's like
Yeah, good call for our comic nerds out there.
Yeah. So he gets back to New York. The guy says goodbye to him at the airport. Like, if you ever want to leave New York, you're welcome to come live with me and live a life separately from the hubbub with me.
He doesn't say New York. He says toilet.
Yeah. He's not wrong. So so he ends up back in New York. He opens up his luggage and realizes he went on this airplane with a gun. Didn't realize it. Yeah.
Gotta love the 70s, man.
Yeah. So that guy got him a gun as like a going away present.
I guess you could have done that in the 70s. I wasn't alive, but I'm sure that you could have carried on a weapon. You could probably still have done that in the 80s. Who knows?
Yeah. And then the movie just takes a turn. Not a lot happens in the second half of this movie, honestly, but it's at least fun. Like, he's going around killing muggers
Yeah.
and getting away with it, and it's a little cat and mouse game with the cop Ochoa.
Ochoa, the lieutenant who has a cold.
He has a cold.
10 years.
That's I know. We'll talk about that. It's weird because like that's his only character trait, really. I think I get the sense like it's supposed to be this like real like two-hander the second half of this movie, but Ochoa is just not enough of a character to like keep my interest when we're not looking at Bronson.
Right. Played by the very prolific and pretty good Vincent Gardenia.
Pretty good.
Pretty good. Moonstruck was his big.
It could have used a better actor. Honestly, like Paul Dooley popped up in one scene of this movie, and I was like, "What if Paul Dooley was Ochoa? That would be good."
Agreed. There's a lot of pop-ups in this movie. Yeah.
Christopher fucking Guest shows up.
Yeah, he speaks more dialogue than Charles Bronson the entire movie.
That's crazy. He's only in one scene.
Charles Bronson's emotiveness makes Clint Eastwood, look like, I don't know, Robin Williams or something.
But I don't totally agree with that, because one thing I like about this movie is like the vigilante becomes like a huge news story.
Right.
And he becomes kind of like a folk hero around town. And I like that Charles Bronson loves that. Like
Yeah,
he gets
it's
really
true.
into it. He starts getting all his clippings.
Yeah. You know what wasn't believable?
That every billboard in New York is for the current issue of a magazine that he's on.
That and the fact that Vincent Gardenia is on the cover of People magazine.
Was it different back then?
I don't know, man, but I made a note. I said, the inspector is on People.
Surely it should be Burt Reynolds.
I would think it would be Burt Reynolds or you know, a meta Charles Bronson.
Sure.
Charles Bronson also, I don't want to miss this note, cooks his whiny-ass son dinner of liver and spaghetti. Why, I don't know. Liver and spaghetti?
It's delicious, Dad. I really liked dinner, Dad. It went down really easy, Dad. Have you gone to see your daughter lately, Dad? Dad,
You wanna
Daddy,
drink, Dad?
Dad?
Like the Jason and Michael Myers movies, I kept a list of Paul Kersey crazy kills. Lost track at 8.
There's 10. I looked it up. But
Yeah,
I
they
think
do
there's
say
9.
that,
I think
but-
there's 9 because it's like the body count is 10, but one of them's his wife.
There you go.
His
Yeah.
daughter doesn't die. She
No.
she's just
Catatonic.
catatonic, and they pop her away with some nuns.
Yep. Pop her away. Yeah.
Yeah. It's weird. What else you got on this?
I mean, a couple of my other notes are just basically on the philosophy of the movie, so that's not that interesting. But it's a discussion, you know. What did you think of like it compared? I'm sorry to do it again, but comparatively to Dirty Harry, like is that we talked about it when we covered Dirty Harry? Is this a fascistic movie, or is it just too silly to even be that?
Fascist is such a strong word.
Well, not fascist in the Third Reich sense. Fascist in like, you know, dispensing justice by death, you know, via Punisher, not via Daredevil, you know, not via Batman, you know. Not,
I mean, yeah, it is. I mean, it is a forerunner to the Punisher. I mean, it's.
we're not beating guys up; we are killing them.
We're killing them. Yeah, he does. He never uses fists in this entire movie.
And
He's just
not
shooting
a
people.
law, and he's not a law enforcement agent like Dirty Harry. He's just a person, a civilian. So the one thing I thought was interesting was that, unlike a lot of crimes, there aren't any gray areas in the movie. They're all just like the most heinous fucking villains. They're just so frequently, comically frequent around New York, and they're so violent and horrific. So it's very easy to like.
There are some muggers. He doesn't need to kill muggers.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Fair point. But I guess what I mean is just they're so just crazy violent usually, and it's just kind of like that makes it a lot easier to make the case.
Yeah,
that-
they're the scum of the universe.
Exactly,
So just
right.
throw them away or whatever.
exactly right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's not much else that happens, right? I mean, I thought the ending was kind of cool. I forgot about that cool.
I like
You know-
the ending too. So Ochoa catches him basically, but crime has gone down in New York so much that they can't like prosecute him. It would be like it would cause a public outcry.
Right. But they want him to stop.
They want him to stop, so they get him to transfer at his job, and he moves to Chicago.
Yeah.
And he has that moment where he sees like it's just some fucking mischief maker at like the bus depot
Right,
or whatever
yeah.
it is, and
The Union Station in Chicago.
yeah. He gives him the little pistol fingers.
One of the few directorial touches that was good.
The last shot.
Yeah. He smiles, it zooms in for once at the right time, and he gives him a little finger gun.
Yeah, it's a fun way to end the movie. You do walk out of the movie going like, "Death wish, that was a good time," but like.
Yeah.
But I didn't need to see
Death
Jeff
wish!
Goldblum spray painting a girl's butthole.
That was bad.
Yeah,
That might have been the worst part of the rape. It was just like so
It's so
demeaning.
dehumanizing. I know.
Oh, God. Yeah. All right. Well, what are you doing? MVP, LVP, and star rating?
I'm gonna give the first Death Wish movie a 3.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
It's a weak 3, I wrote, but it's 3.
I will say I have this movie rated on my Letterboxd account a 4 from before I rewatched it for the podcast.
Well, exactly, and it's my number 4 of 1974.
Yeah.
That would not be no.
But it's only a 3. But it's
It's
a
a
good
3.
solid 3. It's a fun movie. I'll probably watch it again in my life. Maybe fast forward the rape scene.
Yeah.
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 But MVP. Oh, the fucking son-in-law, Daddy.
Stephen Keats, R.I.P.
Daddy.
My MVP is obviously Charles Bronson.
Yeah.
There'd be no movie without him. Really, he's
a
strong screen presence.
He's a valuable player.
He's a valuable player. He's the most valuable player. My LVP is a clear-cut Michael Winner. Throw me some Don Siegel. I think you got a damn good movie on your hands here.
Interesting. Yeah.
It made me appreciate the artistry of Don Siegel even more. Yeah.
He's the director of Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
We appreciated it at the time. I remember there being good shots, and we were impressed with
absolutely.
Scorpio.
Absolutely, I'm even up in the ante. I'm just for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah. I got a short superhero count.
Wait, I haven't come up with an LVP.
Oh, I'm sorry. My fault.
I'm gonna go with the wife. Protect your daughter. No. I don't
Carry
know,
your own
man.
groceries.
I guess Michael Winner.
Herbie Hancock?
No, not even close. There's so much worse in this movie than Herbie Hancock. I'll go Michael Winner, I guess. Whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
Guns. That's my LVP.
Guns.
Yeah.
Superhero count 3. We got Jeff Goldblum, who's the Grand Master in Guardians of the Galaxy and Thor Ragnarok.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Dooley once played a character named Father Michael in Batman the Animated Series.
Oy, Paul Dooley as a priest. That seems creepy.
And my favorite one, the great Helen Martin, who played the old black lady who fights off muggers with a hat pin.
That was dynamite.
Yeah. She's in. I knew her from like 227 and a lot of those old shows. She's great, and I think was she in a couple of Spike Lee joints.
I don't know. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah. Or am I being racist?
It's very possible.
Yeah. Anyway, she was in the 1990 TV series The Flash.
Playing who?
A very famous character named Sadie Grosso.
Sure. Hey, I wrote down my favorite line of dialogue in this movie, and I would like to say it. It's right after the rape scene. We go to the police station, and or it might, it's the police station. He's gonna give his statement about what happened.
Yeah. Okay.
And we pan along some people in the waiting room of the police station, and we hear one character say, "It's absolutely vital you find my dog. He paints such marvelous pictures with his paws."
Oh my God! Yeah, that was great.
Did you catch that shit?
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah, that was great.
What's going on there?
I'm not
I
sure.
have so many questions. He paints pictures with his paws? Now, is he using his paws as performance art, or he's doing a real Jackson Pollock situation?
I don't know.
Or is this dog a surrealist? Where are these paintings being shown? I want to know.
Well,
is he making money off of the dog, or does he just like to see them around the house?
My thought was that it was a little slap at what Michael Winner would consider an arty New Yorkie.
Oh yeah, these fucking beatniks.
Yep. That's what I thought. I was like, oh, there's his little thing against the wimpy liberals with their dogs and their art. And for the record, I was being racist. Helen Martin has not appeared in a Spike Lee joint, but she has been in a lot of things that I've seen, including Sanford and Son and Hill Street Blues and The Jeffersons and all kinds of stuff.
So some of the greatest shows ever made.
Big time, man.
Yeah.
And I loved me some 227 back in the day. I'll say it right here.
It's
I bet you
before
never
my
watched an
time.
episode.
Yeah, I've never seen it. It's never been on in reruns. Like Sanford
love
and
that.
Son and the Jeffersons, those were always on, but I've never watched
When
227.
I was a kid, 227 was on all the time. And Hollywood Shuffle, I love her in that movie. Love her in that movie. Have you ever seen Hollywood Shuffle?
No.
Great movie. All right.
Death Wish 2 comes a mere 8 years later.
Amir.
Never needed to happen.
Never.
No.
We can say right now, did this need to be franchised? No.
But it's not like it couldn't be. Like, I'd be
Right,
fine
right.
with like, do Death Wish 2. Just have it be like a retread of the first one. Make it 3 years later. Have him be in Chicago. And he's picking it
Yeah.
up there.
Right. It's not a good continuance.
I did not need an 8-year later remake where he's in Los Angeles for no reason and we have to revisit Ochoa?
Yeah, very strange. Yeah, I agree. Very, very jarring. I had a note that changed 3 times trying to get the chronology of this fucking thing. They say at one point it's 4 years have passed. 4 years ago he killed these men. Then I look. Then it says 8 years, and then at the end of the movie they say 2 years ago he was another just lazy screenwriting.
They say it in the opening that it's 2 years ago.
Right, but then they change it when Ochoa talks to his wife or his girlfriend, and he says 4 years ago there were killings in Manhattan by a vigilante. And so I'm trying to figure all this shit out.
I know,
And then,
and the movie supposedly takes place in like May or June of 1981.
oh, is that right? I didn't
Yeah,
catch
there's
that.
like a calendar at a cop's office that I noticed.
Wow,
and-
nice pickup.
And
Yeah.
like, but so that would mean like Death Wish takes place in 1979? I don't think so.
Yeah, they're all fucking lazy, man. Yeah.
All right, so Death Wish 2, Michael Winner is back to direct.
Thank God.
Yeah, written by David Engelbach. This is a fella, didn't have much of a career. He does have a story credit on Over the Top.
Nice.
Yeah.
His story credit. I don't know, guys. Stallone in an arm wrestling movie? Sold!
Yeah, fucking fine. By the way,
Yeah.
in 1987, if you go to a studio with just that logline Stallone in an arm wrestling movie,
Oh, you're in.
you're getting $2 million.
Yeah, I should have been born 30 years earlier and been a 50-year-old pitcher. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Death Wish 2 was released February 19th, real Valentine's Day release, for a budget of $8 million. Came in with a box office of $45 million. Came in at number 48 for the year between right between Grease 2 and Zapped.
Never heard of Zapped.
What are you talking about, Henry?
I don't think I have. Have I?
That's a franchise I believe we can cover.
What is that?
Zapped is a great 80s film, more horrifying than anything that happens in Death Wish or Death Wish 2. About a teenager with the power to make girls' clothes disappear.
I guess we're. It has the sequel.
I think so. I don't think I've ever seen the sequel.
Oh, we're doing it.
Hang on. I'm looking it up right
That'll
now.
be the spiritual successor to Hard Bodies.
Zapped is from 1982 with Scott Baio. And in 1990, there is a film called Zapped Again.
Oh,
no Scott Baio to be found, but it is a sequel.
Dude, it's on.
All right, we got to cover Zapped. I can't believe you've never seen that. That's like your era.
I didn't fucking watch movies like that. I never even heard of it.
Zapped.
I was probably watching Weird Science.
I'm looking up the director. He's only made 2 movies. The second one's Zapped. But yeah, we got to see that. That's great stuff.
Okay.
The cover here says they're getting a little behind in their classwork, and it's a painting of Scott Baio and Willie Ames making a hot girl's skirt blow up. in the background, there's a painting of George Washington with bulging eyeballs. Like, oh my God, look at that ass.
Oh boy.
And the tagline for this movie, Henry, the comedy that won't let you down. Talking about your dick.
So we're in full throttle 80s Porky's mode.
Yeah. Sounds like Hard Bodies. But with a sci-fi bent.
Nice.
So this movie was Death Wish. They were never going to make a sequel, and then Cannon Pictures bought the rights.
The Great Cannon.
The Great Cannon Pictures, the guys who brought you 10 years of Chuck Norris films. And you ever see that documentary about them?
Oh, I think franchise guest Aaron Farinelli told me to watch that, but I don't know that I ever did.
Yeah, it's worth watching.
It's supposed to be great, yeah.
Yeah, so they bought the rights for Death Wish 2, brought Bronson back. Bronson brought Michael Winner back. It was going to be directed by, like, the head of Cannon, but Bronson wanted Michael Winner. And
Menahem Golan?
Yes, that guy.
Yeah, okay.
And they wanted to get Isaac Hayes to do the score.
Ooh.
But Michael Winner at the time lived next door to Jimmy Page.
What is with Michael Winner just taking advice from friends? Because, like, he took it from Herbie Hancock, was like the checkout girl in the first Death Wish was like friends with him, and she said, "You should get Herbie Hancock. Listen to his new record." And so he does, and then he gets fucking Jimmy. Very weird.
I mean, I guess if you live next door to Jimmy Page, ask Jimmy Page.
Right, but
the score for this movie is an abomination.
Henry,
I think this is the worst score of any movie we've ever covered on this podcast.
That is saying something. I'd really have to look back.
It's so fucking garbage. The synthesizer, that shitty piercing blues guitar. It sounds like he's fucking Eric Clapton on speed. Forget slow hand. It's fucking fast hand here.
82. I mean, Jimmy is what Zeppelin is done. He's embarking on a strong. Is
he doing No Quarter yet? Doing
what?
No Quarter?
I don't think that. I don't know. I mean, I've always loved Jimmy Page, but I don't know where he was. I'm not that type of fan where I could actually track his career like at all post Zeppelin. So I don't really know until he reemerged in the 90s. I don't know.
Okay.
Probably sitting in a motel room with, a bunch of bottles of vodka and a lot of heroin. That's all I can picture.
I gotta tell you, after watching Death Wish 2, I'm bumping Jimmy Page down to third best member of Led Zeppelin.
Well, that's fine. I don't really have a problem with that anyway, because you got John Bonham and John Paul Jones and Plant. So fine. Third best?
Third best.
Who's below him now, John Paul Jones?
I'll still take him over John Paul Jones. I mean, not that John Paul Jones isn't a great bassist, but, this score is fucking garbage.
It's really bad. I guess the reason that I don't know if I'm on board for saying it's the worst score of the 160, 70 movies we've covered is only because it's not, after that opening introduction, I didn't notice it being that prevalent all the time.
No, it's all over this fucking movie.
Really?
There's just this piercing constantly.
Okay.
And
I'll grant you.
My God, and I read an interview with Jimmy Page.
Oh, really?
And he said, he just brought up Death Wish 2, and he said, doing Death Wish 2, I watching the film and living in California, I was really inspired to make the score blues riffs.
Oh, God.
And I was like, you're Jimmy Page. What the fuck else are you going to do? You're going to hire Jimmy Page for Death Wish 2? The score is going to be hip-hop?
Sure, if he had P. Diddy do the Godzilla soundtrack.
Oh, my God, I forgot about that. Come with me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, little cashmere action going on there.
Yeah, that is great. I love that video.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Puff Daddy's, he's looking straight at Godzilla in the face.
Yeah, because no one fucks with Puff Daddy.
No.
Puff Daddy was on that. He's a host or a judge on that show, The Four, road to stardom or whatever. And I saw a clip of him recently where he was, the crowd started booing, and he goes, "I'm Diddy, don't boo me."
Aw. Poor Diddy.
Yeah.
What a little Diddy.
Okay, so
All right.
it's 2 years. Do we want to do our list for this year? We've done it like a few times.
No, we should do it again.
All right, hurry.
Context.
All
All right, number 10 film of 1982 for me should be higher is The Verdict.
Oh, yeah, mine's The World According to Garp.
Terrible movie. Number 9, Koyaanisqatsi.
My number 9 is Blade Runner.
Still, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Number 8, Poltergeist.
Mine's Gandhi.
Oof. Number 7, Death Trap.
Mine's Poltergeist.
Number 6, The Year of Living Dangerously.
Mine's Death Trap.
Number 5, Diner.
Mine's Diner.
Number 4, 48 Hours.
I have White Dog.
Number 3, Gandhi.
I have Fitzcarraldo.
Yep. Number 2, The Thing.
You might remember our conversation about Fitzcarraldo last time we did a 1982 movie where Henry said he was going to watch it soon. Have you seen it?
No, I have not.
Okay.
And I have that staring me in the face every time we do 1982, my little footnote from 7 years ago that says never saw Fitzcarraldo, so
There
it'll
you
never
go.
let me go. And I fucking own it. Jesus. All right. Number 2, The Thing. Yours is Fitzcarraldo. Number 1 movie
No,
for
my
me.
number 3 was Fitzcarraldo. My number 2 is The
Sorry.
Verdict.
Oh, okay. Good call. Number 1 movie is Blade Runner.
Mine is The Thing.
All right.
Death Wish 2. Okay. So it's either 2, 4, or 8 years later, and Charles Bronson, Paul Kersey or Kersey or Carsey or Carsey.
Or Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's in Los Angeles. He's working at doing architecture at a radio station. Because I guess
Weird job.
Yeah. He's dating the star presenter at the radio station, played by Charles Bronson's real life wife, Jill Ireland, who cannot act.
Oh, I disagree with that.
Okay.
Whom in real life he stole on the set of another movie from a man who was married to her at the time.
Tell me everything.
Charles Bronson said to his co-star, I'll pull it up, but said to his co-star, I am going to marry your wife. And he did indeed marry
Who was the
Jill Ireland.
co-star?
I'm pulling it up.
That's unbelievable. And they stayed married until her death of breast cancer. Am I
I
right?
know. Yes, you are. Yeah. Keep talking.
So he's bringing his daughters out there for some reason too. No mention of. Okay, go ahead.
It's the actor David McCallum, who looks familiar to me. He was a Scottishman, and he was on The Man from U.N.C.L.E. for a long time, and made a lot of movies. And they got divorced because of her involvement with Charles Bronson.
Ooh, listen, McCallum, I'm going to fuck your wife. Okay.
I would like to just see McCallum surely you don't think that's really going to happen? And then 2 seconds
I
later.
truly believe that I will be fucking your wife any second. What's that, Dad? Okay. So they're in L.A. and he's with Jill Ireland and his daughter, who's out there visiting, I guess. And
I didn't understand it.
she's still catatonic and also younger and prettier because she's a different actress. And they're at a farmer's market or something, and she's catatonic, but she says a few words every so often, she's on an upswing.
Right.
And I'm rooting for her. I really like this actress. I thought she was charming. I was ready for a subplot with the daughter. Excited to see her. I was hoping the son-in-law would show up, but they did not put him in this film. Of course, the actor later killed himself because of that.
Yep.
But nothing good can happen. He gets his wallet stolen. Doesn't tell anybody about it because he doesn't want to alarm his daughter because
Right.
she's starting to like trust the world again.
That's right.
And this gang of thugs that stole his wallet, right? They break into his house. One of them is, of course, Lawrence Fishburne.
Morpheus.
Yeah, Lawrence Fishburne the third, as he's credited here.
They are terrorized by Morpheus and Raptor Man.
What?
Yeah. All right. So, Raptor Man, franchise crossover. Kevin Major Howard playing the exact same character from Sudden Impact. He is Raptor Man in Full Metal Jacket. One of the major characters in Full Metal Jacket. That actor, Kevin Major Howard. You didn't recognize him?
Is he Nirvana in this?
No, he's the guy with the fucking shaved head with the long blonde hair.
I did not recognize him.
Yeah.
He looks a little bit like Flea.
Yes.
Yeah.
He's the one in Sudden Impact in the beginning, and when Eastwood has that awesome scene in the elevator because the crook gets off with the crime, and Eastwood goes,
yeah, that's baller.
"You remind me of dog shit. You know, a lot of things can happen to dog shit. It can get stepped on, and etc." Yeah, that's Kevin Major Howard, Raptor Man, Full Metal Jacket, franchise crossover.
Okay,
Done.
so they break in. Lawrence Fishburne seems to be dressed like Bebop the Talking Warthog from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Wow.
Yeah, same glasses.
Nice pull.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another scene where I gotta say, very ugly.
Yes, it is ugly, Henry, but these are more civilized rapists because they take their rape victim into the bedroom, into the boudoir. Now, they don't initially rape. Isn't that weird though? Like they're about to rape her on the couch, and then they're like, "No, man, it's weird to fuck in the living room."
Well, they do it though in the living room, and then they take her to the bed. Like one of them is finished. And
it's
then the other,
so fucking brutal, though. They're just touching all over this poor actress.
It's horrible.
And I read like an interview with Michael Winner where he was saying something like, "Yeah, of course you have to have rape in the movie. Rape is evergreen as a motive." Like, ew, dude.
Oh yeah, I read that. I didn't remember him saying evergreen. I thought it was another quote, but
no,
yeah,
it's something similar.
Ugh,
yeah.
God, what a pig.
What a piece of shit that guy is.
Really
This scene is brutal. So it's like Charles Bronson's housekeeper.
Yes, I have his quote.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Winner said that the film was, quote, the same but different. That's what sequels are. Rocky 2, Rocky 3. You don't see Stallone move to the Congo and become a nurse. Here, the look of L.A. is what's different. Besides, rape doesn't date.
But sometimes daters rape.
That's correct.
Yeah.
What a fucking monster. Okay, anyway.
Rape doesn't date.
Doesn't date.
He'd be thrown out of Hollywood today for that statement.
Yeah, it never gets old is what he means, obviously. Yeah, of course. It's always a crime.
Rape is always great.
Always in fashion.
Always in fashion. Put it in. You can rape before and after Labor Day. It's my favorite.
Can wear white.
So the housekeeper gets raped to death.
Yeah, and then beaten unconscious with a fucking crowbar.
Yeah.
By Nirvana.
Yeah, who's a good actor who's in like tons of shit. Like
really?
It's a face you know. He's still working today. Yeah.
I didn't recognize him.
Yeah,
Okay.
look up he never has big parts and stuff. I mean, he's a franchise crossover. He's like one of the fucking unneeded many in-gen characters in The Lost World.
Oh.
But I mean, he shows up in a lot of stuff.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a cast of ringers raping this housekeeper, and then they kidnap the daughter.
Yeah.
And there's this horrible scene where but it's also my favorite scene in the movie. And it's because
I think I know why. I think I know why.
Look, we don't really see the rape, so it's not as brutal. It's not nearly as brutal as the housekeeper.
Okay, well, the aftermath of it.
The
though,
aftermath is
lying there.
the best.
Oh, not when she's lying there. That's
No, that's horrible. Okay,
But
so
after that, it's yeah.
amazing. Okay, so first they rape her, and she just accepts it.
Yeah.
But then it's almost, we see it in her eyes, like she's back to Catatonia, and she's like, well, I can't go on. I must die now.
But I don't think that's what her intention was.
I think it was.
Oh, you do? I thought it was escape, but okay.
Like,
yeah,
I'm
that makes sense.
dead. I can't get raped. Seriously, I'm going to get gang raped twice in my life. I'm not coming back from
Right.
this. And
But
she runs
Here we
away, jumps through a plate glass window, and lands on a fence, getting impaled to death.
It's so poorly shot.
It's the
that,
best
like, when
scene.
she jumps out the
Oh, she's a dummy for sure. But it's the best.
Oh my God,
It's
when
the best scene in these movies by a country mile, Henry. I recommend anybody that has no interest in Death Wish watch that scene.
It's kind of a rivalry for me between this scene and Wheelchair Wheels falling down the steps in Friday the 13th part whatever.
I believe part 2.
I mean, she jumps out that window, and it's a free fall that's like a millisecond, and then she's impaled on a fucking iron fence, man.
But it kept elevating. Like when she runs away, I got excited, and I like made a noise, like yes. And then she jumps through the window, and I'm like, oh my God, like that was crazy enough. And then she gets impaled on the fence, and I lost my fucking mind.
Yeah, it was pretty shocking. I was shocked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
brilliant.
I mean, they can never top that the rest of the movie.
No, I
but
don't think
of
so.
course,
We'll see.
it's time for Bronson to enact justice again.
Oh yeah.
So he goes into his closet. He gets his gun. He keeps it under his collection of brown loafers.
Yeah, he finds Ames Jane Chill hiding there waiting for him.
Well, no, I mean that guy doesn't show up, but that guy gave him the gun in like a really sweet like box because of course he had such care for Bronson, and Bronson's just keeping it loose under his loafers.
Right.
Not that Bronson likes people that are loose in the loafers. Am I right?
Lighten the loafers.
They're the first to die.
Yeah. They paint pictures with their dog's paws.
It's true. Okay. So in this movie, it's a little different. He doesn't really care what's going on in terms of crime in Los Angeles. He wants to kill these 5 men. These specific guys. He's going to track them down. So first he tracks down a couple. They're buying cocaine in the house from Willard. And
wait, first of all, he sets up shop in a motel.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's true. He rents a motel room.
$2.25 a day.
$50 a month, he said.
I'd live there.
I would live there, absolutely, no problem.
He's not that far from Hollywood Boulevard. I mean, it's $50. I mean, come on.
Plus, there's that weird fucking band that's always playing outside the window. You can watch.
Right. You could watch that. I mean, you got
What
a television.
Is that? It's like
no TV after 11, but yeah.
What do they call those guys? Harikari, the Kama Sutras.
The Hare Krishnas. Kama Sutras.
Yeah.
I think that's
it's so
very
weird
different.
though. Like, why are the guys who raped his daughter always hanging out like right near this motel?
I don't know, man. It's a seedy motel. It's place to hang if you're going to be doing some nefarious activities.
But Los Angeles is like a huge city. Like
not this LA.
In the first Death Wish, like
true.
he goes out every night for a long time looking to kill muggers. Never comes across a single one of the guys that killed his wife.
Right.
In this movie, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Every
well,
time he like looks at a corn dog stand, someone buying a hot dog is his daughter's rapist.
Yeah, it's true. Very true. Yeah. I don't know. I can't explain that. It's a very tiny, tiny L.A.
Yeah. So they go to Rat House. Michael Jackson's there performing Ben.
Right.
And it's fucking gross in there. But the rats are pretty cute. They have pink ears. and then he just fucking kills them. And it's just a series of scenes like that for the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
With the exception of like two subplots, which is like his romance with Jill Ireland.
Right.
Who suspects that he might be killing muggers.
Yeah, not too swift on the uptake, this one.
No, and then he proposes to her, and she's like, "Of course,
Right.
I don't care that you kill muggers. I love you."
She didn't know that at the time.
But she suspected it.
Yeah, still didn't.
Put that right out of her head. Took that rock.
Of course.
Decided to move to Mexico with him.
Left a Scottish husband she had, and then just moved to Mexico.
Yeah, but then she found out that he was in fact killing muggers and doesn't go with him. That's that whole subplot.
That was done.
I mean, we're supposed to act like she's an asshole. Like, what a fucking bitch for not marrying our favorite murderer.
Do you think that that's what we were supposed to think?
Yes, absolutely.
I didn't think that. I didn't get that impression.
I mean,
it's very believable that that's what you're supposed to think, but I didn't think that. But maybe that's because I'm a decent human being. I don't know.
Listen.
No, not. And I didn't mean that came out wrong. Not that you're not, but I don't know. Did you? I didn't think that. Yeah.
I got this. What a fucking cunt for not marrying Charles
No,
Bronson.
yeah, no, I know. That's not what I meant. It wouldn't surprise me if Michael Winner wanted the audience to think that.
Yeah, that's what I suspect.
Yeah, probably right.
The best death is, of course, Lawrence Fishburne getting shot through the boombox.
Awesome.
That's awesome, man.
That was great.
That's how Radio Raheem should have died and Do the Right Thing.
That would have been a death, man.
Yeah.
And I actually liked his reflexes of holding the boombox as if it would stop a bullet. I mean, those things used to be made. I used to have one. You know,
they're wrought iron. I know.
Yeah, I mean, you could have that possibly stop. Probably not. But then Ochoa shows up.
Ochoa shows up for no reason. He still has the same cold he had 8 years ago.
That's a bad
Or
cold.
2 years ago or 4 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, that's a bad cold, Harry. And he follows Bronson out to Los Angeles to kill him, ?
I don't know.
Because he doesn't want it getting back to New York that they let the vigilante go.
Yeah, they do tell him to they sort of give him the wink, wink, and a nod, like kill him.
Yeah. But he ends up dying.
In that. Yeah.
He ends up dying in a pretty nothing scene.
Well, yeah, they have like a firefight. He kind of saves Bronson's life.
Yeah.
Because these drug dealers and these arms dealers, they have a sniper in a tree.
Who the fuck was that?
That was their sniper looking out for anybody.
But he's not a character. Like, that was not one of the rapists.
No, I think
So,
it was
like,
like the
it was-
gun dealers lookout.
They set up that scene so poorly that, like,
Yeah.
Charles Bronson just, like, walks into the woods, and all of a sudden there's just, like, a white guy in a tree.
Very weird. Yeah, very weird. Yeah, very poor. Very poor.
I hated it.
Yeah, it sucked.
And then, like, it's time for him to find, like, the last of these guys, and they track him down, but, like, the police get him first. And at first, he's fighting the police. Like, there's, like, 25 policemen trying to take this guy down, the guy that looks like Flea.
No,
Nirvana.
Right, Nirvana.
And-
Flea gets shot through his crucifix.
And this guy is fucking around with the cops. He looks like he's Stone Cold Steve Austin in a Royal Rumble or something.
He is the Hulk, man. He
He's
takes
just
out half the
spearing
force.
motherfuckers.
Yeah, he takes out half the force because he's on PCP. You know what that'll do. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So then we get a nice little shot at the criminal justice system because, of course, the wimpy criminal justice system, they overtly say that he just simply pleads he's criminally insane under the influence of PCP. And so he's given a slap on the wrist to a little mental institution. So that's cool.
So
'cause that happens. Yeah.
Bronson needs to get into this mental institution to kill him.
Right.
So he decides he's going to become a doctor. So he steals a doctor's ID tag, which is made of paper.
That is literally the longest setup in this movie. How he can break into this place. When otherwise, I would think that would be like a 1 second sequence.
Also, where did he get all this cutting-edge technology, Henry?
Yeah, I mean, all of a sudden he's making fake IDs and shit. What is he, Harrison Ford in The Fugitive? All of a sudden
he uses whiteout to white out the name, all right? Then he uses a copy machine to make himself a new ID, all right? Listen, this is some genius stuff.
He is good.
He is good. And he sneaks in there and kills the guy. The guard on duty seems totally fine with it, and gives him like a 5-minute head start, and then he goes home to find that Jill Ireland has left him, and he seems totally fine with it. End of movie.
He doesn't care.
Yeah,
because he knows in real life that it's his wife, so he's going to get her anyway. So,
is he still going to go to Mexico?
I don't know. Yeah, right. That was the plan, right?
I guess we'll find out in Death Wish 3.
We will find out because his boss, says invites him to a party and says if you're free, and he goes, "What else would I be doing?" Ooh, yeah.
Okay. Now, Henry, what do you give this movie?
1 star.
Really?
Yep. I was at a 2 for a long time, and then I just concluded there's really nothing in this movie. It pretty much sucks.
I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a 2.
Okay. I get it.
It was watchable for me. Lawrence Fishburne was in it. The fucking jumping through the window and falling on the fence was incredible. It was Bronson's still pretty cool. It had enough for me to give it a 2.
Didn't quite have enough for me to give it a 2. On our rating scale, it kind of falls into that it's a piece of shit, never going to see it again type thing.
Okay.
My MVP is the luminous Jill Ireland.
That's your MVP?
She's not much to hang on to in this movie, man. I thought she was good in the scene she was in. Yeah.
You're a nut.
She was. I don't know why you think she was a bad actress.
She's such a bad actress. First of all, she has a crazy accent. I don't know what she's doing.
The way she speaks, like a British accent.
She's like doing this like fucking Laurence Olivier performance in this shitty B movie, and it's weird. She's my LVP, Henry.
All right. I mean, look, I get it. It was hard to pick.
She's my LVP, Dad. Daddy.
My LVP was pretty easy.
Who's that?
I'm a little surprised it's not yours.
Who?
Jimmy Page.
Fuck, you're right. It should be.
Because when are we ever going to be able to get, not that I want to ever, but when are we ever going to be able to give Jimmy Page, no,
I'll give it it's a tie. Jimmy Page and Jill Ireland.
All right.
They deserve each other.
And your MVP was who?
Bronson. What else you got to hang on to in this thing?
I guess you're right.
Yeah.
I got a superhero count.
Okay.
I got 4. One guy, actor named Paul Comey, played the senator early in the movie, talking about getting violence off the streets. It's a nothing role.
Yeah.
He was in the immortal Howard the Duck.
As?
Dr. Chapin.
Oh, I was hoping it'd be a duck pun.
Yeah, no, I didn't have it. He was a doctor, so I guess
maybe his name is Bill Chapin.
Right, Bill Chapin, or he was a doctor, so I guess you could say he was a quack. Am I right?
It's pretty good.
Thank you. Robert F. Lyons was in this. He played a character named Fred McKenzie. We all remember that character from this movie.
The great Fred McKenzie, sure.
He was in an episode of The Incredible Hulk in the 80s.
God.
Yeah, don't worry, I have a good one at the end. Third, we have the judge who gives the sentence to Nirvana, played Judge Lake. He played Judge Harper in Warren Beatty's film Dick Tracy.
Oh, frequent judge.
Frequent judge. All right, and the final superhero count, of course, is Larry Fishburne, who is in 4 things. One of them was very surprising to me and exciting in a weird way. All right, first we've covered him. He's in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2007. He's the narrator.
Sure.
He's the voice of the Silver Surfer in Fantastic Four: Rise of the Silver Surfer.
Of course he is, yeah.
He is in Man of Steel and Beavis Doge as Perry White.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not know, you probably did, but I did not know that in the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp, he is Bill Foster Goliath.
I did not know that.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I assume older Goliath?
I guess.
Like Michael Douglas's, partner or something?
Oh, good call.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yep, didn't think about that.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so come back next week. We'll be talking about Death Wish 3 and Death Wish 4, The Crackdown.